Hey, it's Sam from Sugar Spun Run, and I'm showing you how to make Oreo frosting. All right, a short and sweet and simple recipe for you today. We're going to be making Oreo frosting. I wanted a frosting that was not too sweet, had a nice depth of flavor, and of course, was distinctly Oreo flavored. Of course, we're beginning with our Oreos. You're only going to need 6 Oreos for today's recipe. I know that doesn't sound like a great deal, but it's going to give us about a half cup of Oreo crumbs. So as you can see, I've added these right to my mini food processor. That's because I'm going to want to pulverize them to fine crumbs. You could do this with a rolling pin in a Ziploc bag, but if you have any intention of piping this frosting through a piping tip, you really want to make sure you get these super fine. Otherwise, you're going to end up clogging your piping tip and you're going to have a bad time. So I've dropped these in here. And this is just my handy little multi-tool that I love using. You could use an actual food processor instead. Just blitz these. All right, let's take a look. Don't stick your finger in there because there's a very sharp blade in there, but everything looks nice and fine. But if you really want to make sure there are no cookie clumps remaining, just pour this through a sifter to strain out any large pieces. And I'll do that once I'm ready to add these to the frosting. But for now, they're just going to be set aside, and grab yourself a large mixing bowl. The first ingredient you need for today's recipe is 3/4 cup of softened unsalted butter. Or if you only have salted butter, use that and just skip the salt that I'll be adding in a bit. If you're using sticks of butter, this is typically 1½ sticks. This should be neither too cold nor too warm, because if it's warm, your frosting is going to be melty and difficult to use. So this recipe is a cookies and cream inspired buttercream, but when I tried to make it similar to a classic buttercream, it was just too sweet. So I needed something to temper the sweetness and give it a really nice cookies and cream flavor. The secret ingredient was cream cheese. Now, I played with the amounts of cream cheese and butter a lot with this recipe. I didn't want it to taste like a distinctly cream cheese frosting. That sort of bullied the Oreo flavor, so I found by using just half a brick or 4 ounces of softened cream cheese gave me just the right flavor. It's really good. Today's recipe could absolutely be made in a stand mixer, but today I'm just going to be using my electric hand mixer. And I'm going to cream together the butter and cream cheese until they're smooth and no lumps. Okay, we're looking pretty good here, so now we can start adding our sugar. You will need 3½ cups of powdered sugar for today's recipe. Using this amount of sugar is going to give you a frosting consistency that is on par with classic American buttercream. It's great for spreading on a cake. It's also great for piping and will hold its shape. If you're looking for a softer, not as sweet icing, you can reduce the sugar. Just keep in mind the icing will be less stable. Now, always add your sugar gradually, because otherwise it's just going to be a mess when you turn on your mixer. Even adding it gradually, I still sometimes run into this issue. Another thing I want to note is that I did use brick style cream cheese. Sometimes you can find cream cheese that is sold in a tub. It's like a spreadable cream cheese. Unfortunately, that has additives added to it. It has ingredients added to it that make it creamy and keep it from setting up properly. If you use this in your frosting is unfortunately likely to be too runny and difficult to use. The same thing goes if you use a low-fat cream cheese. Almost there. Look at that, I made it through adding the powdered sugar without wearing any. Pretty pleased with that. So to add a nice depth of flavor to the frosting, I always like to add a pinch of salt. This is about 1/8 teaspoon. I wouldn't do more than that. We're also going to be adding some vanilla extract, and I'll be adding a 1/2 teaspoon. A lot of my frosting recipes call for more than a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla, but with this recipe, you're getting a lot of flavor from the Oreo cookies, and I didn't want to overwhelm it or make it too sweet by doing too much vanilla extract. So 1/2 teaspoon is key. We'll stir this in briefly. This is what gives our frosting a nice depth of flavor, that in addition to the cream cheese. Okay, and now our cookie crumbs. I'll grab my sifter. Big one today, doesn't need to be this big. And I'm just going to sift the crumbs in because I do plan on piping this. This is just too fine. Rookie mistake. Pour in an actual sifter. And then if there are any pieces that are too large, usually you can just use your spatula or a spoon to sort of force them through the mesh, which will get them to the proper size. Then you won't have any clumps blocking your piping tip. All right, looks great. All right, now all that's left to do is fold in these cookie crumbs until they're completely combined and well distributed. Doesn't that look so pretty? Okay, your frosting is done at this point, but real quickly, I want to show you how beautifully it pipes. And my little trick for filling a piping bag, I put the tip in, put it in a large bag, fold that over. Makes it easy to fill a piping bag when you only have one set of hands. All right, I have just prepared a batch of my dark chocolate cupcakes, and I think this is the perfect frosting to top those off. This is the Attico 848 tip that I'm using today, one of my personal favorites. And look at that, this frosting just pipes so beautifully. Ta-da! That is how you make super simple Oreo frosting. If you try this one, please leave me a comment, let me know what you think. I always love hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. All right, I'm gonna try that cupcake thing. Everybody's doing the cupcake sandwich. It always kind of seemed like a blasphemous way to eat a cupcake. Have you seen this? That's pretty good. Pretty good way to eat a cupcake. Excellent frosting. This really is good frosting. So as you can see, wait, I can't count and talk. 2, 3, 4. Everybody don't panic. No one panic. Quality check. Embarrassing.